Welcome into Once Upon a Sunday Fantasy Football Podcast. I am your host, Josh. With me, Justin and Dave, my awesome co-hosts of the night. You can follow us on Twitter at Fins Talk Sports Network, at Justin Bowerly, at Viking David 18, and of course, yours truly at Josh Campbell OUS, where I will tell you to grow up or stop worrying about people's money. Guys, how are we doing?
I saw that. You had him. He was so fucking pissed at you.
He's not the only one. It's everyone. Mind your fucking business, people.
Wait, you did what now?
I'm just tired of people talking about money. We'll get to it in news. We'll get to it in
Oh,
news.
that's
Don't
so
worry.
funny.
Get to
Oh,
it in
guess
news.
I missed it. Sorry,
You
I have
did.
a real job where I was busy, guys. I'm not
I
scanning
mean,
Twitter all day long.
you used to, Dave. You
You're
know
right, I
what? You know
used
what you're
to.
doing? You know what you're doing? Because I used to do your job. Here's what you're doing. You're sitting there. You pull a car back. You sit down. You check your TikToks. You're going through your TikToks. You're laughing. Come on, give us a classic Dave laugh. Ha, ha, ha.
Sometimes I
And
do that,
then
but not always.
hold on.
Not
Then you
lately.
lay
I'm too busy.
you'll lay plastic on the ground. You'll clean a steering wheel once in a
No, I
while.
don't even gotta lay
You'll sit
plastic anymore. I cover my lot.
you'll sit in you'll do some more TikToking in the RC. Boom, next car. That's what you do, Dave. Chill.
Sometimes,
All right?
not always.
But
Sometimes.
I used to do it with you, man.
You know, I want to hear shit from you guys. You're sitting in the AC all day, so fuck off.
I heard it's the hottest summer
Listen,
ever.
it was hot out today. It
You know,
was a solid
this guy sent us
95
a text
degrees.
today talking about I go to the office once a week and I get snacks. So you
Twice.
know what, Justin,
Twice.
I don't want to hear shit from you,
You go twice a week.
assholes.
But we
I
are
mean,
here
Josh
tonight.
sits at home all day, so I don't know
Yeah,
why
he
you're
just plays
upset at me. At
Fortnite
least
on-
I go to the
and-
office.
Yeah, at least you do something, I guess. Not that
I
it makes it any better.
did play Fortnite today. Hey, but we're here for sleepers talk,
Yeah.
sleepers, and all the sleepers. I think we have two each. We'll tell you why they're sleepers, and then you can go pick them up in all your leagues and thank us later. It's hard. It's really hard to come up with sleepers, man. Like in 2023, everyone has Twitter, everyone has everything. I bet you 10 years ago, somebody like a Quentin Johnston will be a sleeper. Like someone that's a well-known player in the community would be a sleeper, considered a sleeper back then. But times have changed. So I got trivia to open the show. This one's gonna be weird. You're not gonna be able to get it, but it's okay. It's fun. I want you to give me the top 5 wide receivers in yards after the catch last year. It's almost impossible. But we always talk about ADOT and air yards. But who are the guys who create yards? I want to know.
Tyreek has to be one of them.
Yeah, I was gonna say Tyreek
He
probably
has to be one of the top 5.
has to be.
Because they're actually sorted out in running backs and receivers and tight ends. So I actually have to manually look. So no him. No.
It wasn't.
Wasn't Tyreek. He was not in the top 5. No. Now I have the
What?
cutoff of who was the top 5 for yards after the catch. Tyreek Hill had 482 yards after the catch. The leader overall, it has 857. But he's a running back, so we're not counting him. The leader overall for receivers has 613. So Devontae Adams was not one of them.
Justin
was
Jefferson.
not.
I don't
Justin
know.
Jefferson
I'm just
was-
naming the best guys.
I know. Justin Jefferson was number 1, 613 yards after the catch. That was easy. That was a stud. But the rest of them are all super awesome. Or all pretty much first, second round picks in fantasy. The other one's not.
So
Garrett Wilson.
Jefferson is one.
Jefferson's one with
I
613.
don't think Garrett Wilson
Waddle.
was he?
Waddle,
Yeah, I was gonna
510.
say
He
Waddle,
was fifth.
maybe
So you got number 5 and you got number 1.
Brown,
Which Brown?
AJ Brown.
AJ. The
AJ
only one
Brown
that
was number
matters.
AJ Brown was number 2, 548. So you have the
CeeDee
2 guys in
Lamb.
the middle.
Diggs and
CeeDee.
CD. No,
Diggs. I was gonna say Diggs.
No, not Diggs.
not Diggs.
One is like a board. He's on a so one's a second round pick for sure or third.
Amon Ra. That's your boy.
Sun God, 526. Yep.
So
And then
that's
the
4
last
of them?
one, I can't give you too many hints, but let's just say his quarterback situation is not ideal.
No, it's not
DJ Moore.
No, not DJ Moore.
Isn't ideal last year or this year,
It was very ideal last year. It was very, very ideal last year.
but not this year.
So
But
now he's
not
on a new
this year.
team then. Or he has a new QB.
We
I
said
mean,
Devontae, right?
yeah, you
and
said Devontae.
That was
Yeah.
a no. Um,
And think The OG.
Olave?
No,
No.
not Olave. Olave's improved, I believe.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
not
you're right.
Christian Watson, right?
No, not Christian Watson. He did not. He's no. So it's a person that has a very. Hold on, let me see. Hold it.
When I woke up this morning, I was feeling pretty dangerous.
Oh, Mike Evans.
No, the other one.
Godwin.
Chris Godwin. Yeah, Chris Godwin had
You still had
531.
that. You still had that on the. That's awesome.
That's amazing.
Yeah, man, we got Baker Mayfield throwing it to Mr. Chris Godwin this year.
Godwin's number 5. Okay, I like
I'm
that.
surprised. So Adams was up there. He was right behind Waddle. Debo Samuel. I'm surprised it wasn't more of Debo Samuel. And you're right, Tyreek. But I guess Waddle was that guy over there. I just like looking at yards after the catch. It's kind of cool to see how guys create. So we got some news. Got some players signing contracts. The biggest one, Saquon Barkley, has signed. What was it, Justin? You brought it up earlier.
Yeah, it
11
was
million.
1 year, $11 million, which was only like 900,000 more.
Yeah, he was.
But-
I mean, good for him, but
Yeah, he now has $900,000 of incentives, which he had no incentives before. So if he rushes 1,350 yards plus a playoff berth, 65 receptions, and 11 touchdowns, he'll make that extra $909,000.
I mean,
But he also gets $2 million full, signing bonus paid up front, and the 10.1 fully guaranteed.
I don't care about the money. I don't care what he makes. I don't care the incentives. I don't
I-
care any. I really don't.
I think
just-
I think the biggest thing here is somebody was asking me, was like, it's almost the same deal other than just an extra million or something like that. And I'm like, yeah, but now that he's actually under contract and not under a franchise tag, they can actually work out a deal this season instead of having to wait till next year.
No, I understand that, and I get why, but I don't care. I'm just glad he's there.
Yeah.
People want to go into, well, he didn't gain much and yada yada yada, and look, the most important thing for fantasy football is he's there. He's in camp. He's going to play. He's signed. And this is huge for me personally, as I've been Thanos. I've been the Thanos, and Saquon's been my Infinity Stones, and I've been going out and grabbing them in every league, and Dave's been seeing it. Right, Dave even made a comment about it, and I'm super happy that he's there. And plus, the incentive part's great because now, okay, I do care about it. Now it's like, as a Saquon manager, I'm like, oh yeah, he's gonna want to rush for these yards, and he's gonna want to be on the field to get his incentives.
And he's going to want those 65 receptions. So that's
Yep.
a big one for fantasy owners, honestly. I picked him up in a dynasty. People kept trying to trade Breda to me or trying to get Barkley from me. I'm like, he's going to play. And if he doesn't play this year, he's going to play next year. So no, thanks. And hopefully owners didn't go out there and sell him.
Yeah, Dave, did you are you worried about Josh Jacobs now, or do you think he still holds out?
he's dumb to hold out. The running back position, you can't afford to hold out. That's 1 year, last year that you're going to get paid at all. So
I
you got to
think-
take your money and play.
Yeah, I think it would have been easier for both of them to hold out. But now that it's only one, it's going to make it a lot tougher on Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, do you think that Josh Jacobs' agents thinking, man, we should probably just do this, and Josh is like, nah, or do you think that anything's going to happen before week 1?
I think he'll come in eventually, even if he doesn't get any kind of raise. You're just dumb if you sit out. I'm sorry, you just are at this point. Like, you've seen what happened to Lev Bell. These guys always get injured when they miss training camp anyways. It's like you're asking for trouble. If they're already not getting paid. You think you're gone for a year, they're going to forget about you, dude. Like, you're not going to get what you thought. Like, Le'Veon Bell, who's one of probably the best running backs in the league at that time. If he didn't get what he wanted, Josh Jacobs, see you, dude. Like, you had a great year. You better play and make up that money now.
Yeah, it's just it's unfortunate for Josh Jacobs, but Zamir White looking pretty good now. Everyone wanted to laugh last year and write him off. Don't stop. Don't stop. He's there.
Stop.
He's there.
Please
He's
stop.
there. Is he in camp? Is Zamir White in camp?
Zamir White is irrelevant. That's what he is.
Is he in camp? Sleeper.
I don't know, and I really don't care.
Sleeper. Zamir
Sleeper
White.
alert.
Everyone, yes, I love Zamir White. Justin Herbert and the Chargers agreed to a 5-year, $262.5 million extension. That's good for fantasy. Now we know the future.
That's 5 years, 260
Yeah.
something million.
Yeah.
It's over
Yeah,
$50
he's
million
there
a
until
year. Jesus
2029
Christ.
now.
Yeah, good. That's awesome.
Like, no,
Why-
I love Herbert. That's crazy. That Jesus Christ, his money is going up and up and up.
You know, as a Dolphins supporter, I fear what after the year Tua is going to have. After the year Tua throws for 55 touchdowns, I am so afraid of how much money he's going to demand. After the MVP, if Justin Herbert, this underachieving, let's face it,
Underachieving. Here we
let's
go.
face it, he is underachieving. It
He
is
just
what
led
it
his team to
is.
the playoffs, and he's like top 5 every single year in stats. What are you talking about? Last year was a down year, and he still made the playoffs. So who's underachieving if Tua hasn't done any of that stuff?
Tua was throwing bombs, whatever. We don't need to get into that
When he had his
conversation.
head on his shoulder.
And he has it now. Do you see that? You see that new tat? You see how tough this guy, the tribal chief, the
Was
one,
stud.
two. Anyway, what are we talking about? Oh yeah, I like this news. I like this news a lot. It gives me more clarity on where Justin Herbert's going to be, and you can really invest in those weapons in San Diego, Los Angeles now.
San Diego.
Jeez. I wish they were still in San Diego. So much better. So much better.
It sounds better.
Sounds better. It does sound better.
They play in a stadium that is shaped from the Rams logo. I mean, how welcome do you think you feel walking in that stadium every time?
Well, I don't know what Kirk Cousins has to do with what we're talking about tonight, Josh, but Kirk Cousins whines so much on this quarterback show.
First of all, there's no apostrophe between that. So maybe learn how to spell. Maybe you just have basic grammar. Just do that for one, Josh, before you even talk shit. How about that?
He can't even
Jesus
spell
Christ.
dogs. He
Can
can't
yeah,
even
like-
spell dogs. Anyway,
Actually,
Can we
that is
ban
the-
him from the chat, please?
That is the
Mods.
correct way to spell dogs. The Bears helmet's in the way, but that is the correct way to spell dogs.
all right.
You got that
We are
dog in him.
going. Hey, we got to get the show back on track. All right. We
What
are
show?
going to get to this show. Once Upon a Sunday Fantasy.
Oh, we're live?
Oh, I thought we were just chatting.
Dev, I'm not. Oh, I almost gave out my sleeper.
Yeah.
So I have 2. Justin has 2. Dave came in.
I got
said
at
he
least
had
one. I do
none.
have at least one.
Dave has
I just looked
mysterious
at.
number.
I got one.
Dave wrote a squiggly line. It's like, this is my.
I
Dave,
got
is that how you write?
Hopefully he
With-
figures it out
with
by the end of the show.
patterns and triangles.
I don't know what that means.
Dave,
How
like,
does one
I've
write at
seen
the
his
shop?
notes.
Hieroglyphics? Is that what you're talking
Yes,
about?
there we go. Hieroglyphics, like what the Sphinx people use, right?
You're an idiot. Can we just go? Can we move
Who
on?
do Who do you think built the pyramids?
I have no idea who built the pyramids.
do you
None.
think?
Aliens, probably. Apparently, I don't know. That's
Why
probably
are
what
you
you're
just
saying.
talking about? Let's get the show back on track. And now
It is
you're
aliens.
talking about
You guys should hear what Josh was telling me on our drive to Orlando for Scott Fishbowl. Why did I just remember this? It was the most outlandish shit I've ever heard in my life. And I was like, Josh, you're the dumbest person I know. I love you, but you're so fucking scared.
I was talking about how aliens live amongst us and we just don't know. We can't see them.
That wasn't even the only one. You're talking about like lizard people exist.
well, they do.
I don't even know what else it was. Okay, I'm sorry. Go
And
ahead.
this
Keep
week
going.
on Once
The
Upon a
mi-
Sunday.
Dimensions and how ghosts travel through dimensions.
Oh yeah, there was ghosts. There was all kinds of crazy stuff.
Yeah, paranormal talk with Josh Kimball.
That's the
Anyway,
next podcast. That's the next hour.
Back on the fantasy podcast.
This
Yes.
is fantasy.
On the fantasy football podcast. Let me be specific.
let's just start. Justin, get it on track. What's your number one? Your first sleeper?
All right. First one I've got here. I'm trying to actually take him in as many leagues as I can this year. The first show I was on was our boom or bust episode, and I picked Darren Waller to be a boom or bust, specifically mostly because of his injury history and his track record over the last 2 years, only playing in 20 games over 2 seasons. Now, with that being said, what are the chances of him actually playing 12 to 14 games this season? Probably not likely. So I would be I'd be taking Daniel Bellinger, especially if you have deep benches. And in Dynasty, he's only 22 years old. Last year, weeks 2 through 7, he was tight end 9 before he got injured and missed 4 weeks, and then basically never really got back on track with Daniel Jones in that offense. With Waller's injury history, I would be looking at Bellinger as much as possible in the late rounds. I mean, we're talking about sleepers, so you could probably draft him in rounds 20, 21 even. I'm getting him in the 20s. He's a tight end to sit on your bench.
So
But
he's
that's for
basically
best ball stuff because in redraft,
yes.
you only go about 16 rounds. So he's not getting drafted in redrafts.
That's fair.
That's
So
all.
I put Daniel Bellinger in the Elijah Mitchell queue for me, as in the
No
year he
way.
blew I'm talking about let me finish my statement. The year he
No
remember
way.
we had this huge conversation about how I thought Eli Mitchell was going to be great. I drafted him in Scott Fish Bowl. No one thought he was anything. And then it's Tyson Williams guy came from Baltimore, and it was either remember this?
Yo,
Remember this, Dave?
I
Remember?
remember
And
that
I
whole
said,
thing. Oh, of course I remember
yeah.
that.
And I'm like, guys, I've been on Eli Mitchell. You should get Eli Mitchell. Stop taking this Tyson Williams guy. He's a nobody. And you're like, so what I meant by, and you're like, why didn't you draft him everywhere if you thought Eli Mitchell was so good? And here's why. Because it's one of these things where he's a sleeper, and I'm just hovering. I'm waiting. He's sitting there. I know no one else is eyeing him.
Yeah,
It's
he
like when
could.
I'm playing.
He could
So-
easily be a
Well, what I mean is you don't.
waiver wire pick
And,
here.
yeah, you don't need to draft him. Just wait for him to
Mhm.
heat up. Wait for that opportunity. That's what I did with Eli Mitchell, but unfortunately, that came in week 1 instead of
Yeah,
later down the road.
that's the only thing is don't wait too long because once he does, or once Waller goes down, you and everybody else is going to be going for Bellinger. So might look ahead, but I've got him in 3 different leagues this year so far. He's being drafted as tight end 34 right now.
That's bad. He's not someone I'm targeting anywhere because of his a backup. It's like I like Isaiah Likely. I think Isaiah Likely has a great future, but I'm not drafting him anywhere. But I know he's super athletic because of Andrews. Same thing can be said for Bellinger. But man, if he gets the opportunity, I think he's going to ball.
And that's the thing. I think he's going to get that opportunity. It's just when at this point.
Yep. David, do you have your
We
one
got-
sleeper?
I only have one. His name is James Cook. I just like the offense. He's got the opportunity. Damian Harris isn't good, and he doesn't need to be a 3-down back anyways. He's going to be the pass catcher. Devin Singletary's gone. Devin Singletary was pretty good for fantasy last year. If you had him, he was putting up points. So I think Cook can be that guy. Cook got he was a lot better down the stretch at the end when they started using him a little bit more. But if you can get him, I think he was the RB. He's going as the RB 30. I think I saw. I think that's a good spot to try to get him. If you can get him late in the draft, he's got really high upside because of that offense mostly. Like Singletary wasn't great, but he's scoring touchdowns every time they get down there. Obviously not every time because Josh Allen steals a lot of touchdowns too. But if he catches balls and he's scoring touchdowns, he doesn't need a huge workload to be valuable and be a steal at the RB 30 in the draft.
Yeah, the thing I like about Cook is that opportunity because we saw, unfortunately, Hines go down for the season, so that's going to
I
take
even
some.
thought about that. I forgot about him
so
too.
that puts a little bit more on James Cook's plate. Damian Harris, don't sleep on him. I know you said he's not.
He's
good,
not
but he
bad.
is good.
He's,
he is good.
No, he's not. He's not good. He's not bad. He's fine. Like he's nothing special. And
He's had his
gonna get some work.
opportunities, and he still doesn't do a
That's
lot.
what I'm saying.
with
Like
his
he's
opportunities.
just blah. He's a blah guy, which is fine. Like you need those guys around. He'll suck up some carries, but Cook's the explosive player. He's gonna most likely get the receptions too. So he should have a really good opportunity to be a really valuable player.
So Blah to you, yeah. Last year he was not good, but the year before that, man, he was not Blah. 929 yards,
That's blah.
off of 202 carries, 4.6 yards per carry. Like he averages to 4.6 yards per carry. That's pretty good. Even last year, 4.4 yards per carry.
I mean, listen, he
didn't get many
great.
opportunities.
He's nothing.
last year.
He's not terrible. He's fine. He's a blah player. Like for fantasy, I mean, like he's just a meh.
So let me ask you this:
He's like David
who-
Montgomery. He's a bum.
Who, I understand. I'm going to bring this up real quick. Dameon Pierce, his opportunity. Obviously, he's a starter there in Houston. But then you look at someone like Damian Harris, same kind of style of player. Pierce obviously is more explosive and all that, and he's younger. They're the same player, but people are
Similar.
drafting.
I agree.
But they're drafting Damian Pierce at running back 18. But
Well,
Damian
that's
Harris
'cause
is pretty much
It's
undraftable.
assumed Pierce is the starter,
Yeah, no, but
which he probably will be.
let's just say take the jerseys off. Just look at the stats. Would you say Damian Pierce is blah? No, you
Well,
would say no. He's a starter, usable asset, but he's not. He's just like Damian Harris.
He's blah. I agree. He's blah. Like he's a fine RB3. He's gonna get you some points, but he's nothing like he's not a guy you're like excited about. That's what I'm saying about Harris too. Like they're guys that you can use for fantasy because they score points and they're gonna get but they're not like winning you any leagues. They're not going to lose you any leagues if they go down either. It's kind of guy.
I love that you just said Dameon Pierce is a great RB3 for a team because I would not
Yeah.
feel comfortable as him as my RB2. He's being drafted right now as running back 18 in PPR
He won't be on
leagues
any of my teams.
either. And that goes into my sleeper where I've been getting this guy everywhere. And yes, even in redraft leagues, I will draft him in the very last round if I can. And that's Devin Singletary, ADP running back 44, while Dameon Pierce is going 18. Give me Singletary all day at that ADP, especially. But let's be honest here. We're in the NFL where so many running backs get used on a weekly basis. Even Dameon Pierce, I believe, missed 4 games last year due to injury, and they had nobody behind him. Rex Burkhead was putting up numbers. I think they had some other bum back there doing absolutely garbage work. Singletary is not a bum, as Dave says. He was very good in Buffalo, always up there. He putting up points. Dave, last year he put up 10.5 fantasy points per game. Not great, but they didn't really use him much. But when he did play, he played great. He's a great receiver. He's a great runner. He creates space. That's something that Dameon Pierce cannot do. He cannot catch. He doesn't create much space, but he does break tackles, and he's a great goal line back. So the touchdowns worry me because Dameon Pierce will get those. But I'm looking at game script. When they're behind, when CJ Stroud is scrambling around trying to find a safety net, Dalton Schultz first, Devin Singletary in the flat second. That's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at the catches. So give me the running back 2 over there in Houston. Put him on all my teams. And he can put up Pierce's numbers. Just watch. He can do it. He's only missed 2 games in his entire career. Devin Singletary. In 4 seasons. Running backs, that's very rare. So we'll see if his longevity can stay over there in Houston. Maybe he had a better team around him. But I just like his talent, and I can't believe Buffalo let him go. That's it. That's my spiel.
They let him go because they can replace him with a guy like Damon Harris. Like, those guys are a dime a dozen.
Dave,
Why
was
would you
that
pay
one of my
Singletary?
best? Was that one of my best little monologue things I've ever done?
I'll be honest.
You didn't listen? You didn't listen?
listen.
You son of a bitch.
He was looking for his other sleeper.
I am. That's 100% what I'm doing right now, and I think I found one. So yes, I was half listening, and now I'm sure it was great.
My only issue with Devin Singletary, which is what I'm afraid of, they only signed him to a 1-year, $2.75 million contract. Basically pennies, right? They can cut him for probably nothing. Who's to say that he just doesn't make the team? I don't know. But Pierce is only a 4th-round pick, so not much invested in him as well. So,
Yeah.
Up in the air. Justin, you're up next.
All right, I'm gonna pull a audible here. I told you who my second one was, but I'm gonna go with a different player on the same team, and we're just gonna ignore the Bears stuff in the background here. Originally, I was thinking Chase Claypool because he's a physical player. He got a bad deal, but he ended up playing pretty well under the Bears the last for 3 games. Saw a 50% target share in the red zone. However, I'm gonna go with somebody that is going pretty low in leagues. I'm drafting him wherever I can. I'm trying to get him on any of the teams that I've got, but he's being currently drafted at wide receiver 52. It's Darnell Mooney. They got DJ Moore. Mooney was wide receiver 1 for Chicago last year. Now he's wide receiver 2 behind DJ Moore. It's going to open up him a little bit more than before. That pushes Claypool down that list just a little bit, and I'd rather have Mooney on my team rather than Claypool. Mooney, you're going to be able to get mid to late, but he's going to be worth it, and he's going to be able to slide in right into like a flex 1 position. And if you're really weak at wide receiver, I'd be okay with him at wide receiver 2. Not loving it, but I'd be okay with that. Last year, when he weeks 4 through 11, he finished as wide receiver 25, which again, not great, but it's serviceable for where he's being drafted right now.
Darnell, man, I'm not ready for Mooney to hurt me again. I'm not.
I'm ready for Mooney to hurt me every year. He was putting up pretty good numbers. I mean, he was hitting double digits weeks 4 through 11 until he got hurt.
Mooney
I
was.
think he's.
Go ahead, Dave.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I think he's a better NFL player than he is for fantasy. I think he's really good as a number 2, and I think he'll be better in that role My only issue is the offense. I don't think they'll pass enough, and I don't think he'll be consistently targeted enough to be putting up consistent. No, that's like I think he's a good player. I just worry about that, which is why he's getting drafted so low. And you got to think if Fields is running half the time, if DJ Moore's getting the majority of targets, I do think Mooney's going to have some games because I think he's a good player. I just don't think he'll be one of those guys where you're like you said, you feel okay with him as a number two. If he's not number two in my fantasy team, I feel like you better be stacked everywhere else. I just think he's going to be too inconsistent because I do think he's a good player. I just worry about his numbers for fantasy.
What do you think about he's a deep threat, right? Like he is the guy who's a big play guy. If they throw the ball more than 18 times, I mean, it's a possibility that they could both succeed, DJ Moore, but it's unlikely. Do you think it's going to come down to who Fields is more comfortable with? Because he's been playing with Mooney for 2 years. He might be more comfortable with him, whereas DJ Moore could just be
Well, we thought that last year when he was the number one minute, and I don't know. I think Mooney's I think he's better made for being a number two. So I think he's in the right spot as the number two instead of number one.
And that's the thing is that I think his production is going to go up being the wide receiver too, because he's not going to be doubled. He wasn't doubled last year, but he's not going to have the best, their top corner on him. That top corner is going to be on DJ Moore, and they're going to be looking at them more. They're going to be stacking the box up against Justin Fields, which will allow Mooney to get some open space down the field.
Some big plays. That's what you're looking for.
We all want touchdowns, right?
My dynasty team needs that so bad. Okay. My second sleeper. Dave, do you want to go next?
Wow, you're just going to skip me? You're just going to skip me, bro?
I forgot you had one. Well,
I found one.
Okay. Let's
No,
hear
you go. You go.
No, here.
Last.
Who's your sleeper? Last year you said Justin Jefferson, so I want to hear this next. Go back to last year, guys. He said Justin Jefferson.
He's still sleeping, guys.
Biggest sleeper of the year. Drafted 101.
I'm gonna go with Jahan Dotson as my sleeper. He's going as the wide receiver 40. I don't love the QB whole situation. Obviously, the McLaurin's the guy there. I get that. But as a rookie, he had 35 catches, 523 yards, 7 touchdowns. He missed 5 games. Towards the end of the year, he had some pretty good numbers. 5 for 54 and a touchdown, 4 for 105 and a touchdown, 6 for 76 and a touchdown. A couple other games where he had 70-some yards. And 7 touchdowns as a rookie, when you miss 5 games, I think that's pretty good. I like the way he just looks like he's a good football player. Now you got to worry about Howell. We don't know how good he's going to be. Obviously, McLaurin's the number one guy there. I just think at the wide receiver 40, as a wide receiver 4, he's got some upside to be a really good player that you can get really cheap. I think he's going 90th overall. It's so late. That might be able to put up wide receiver 2 numbers for you.
What wide receiver position is he going?
I think I saw wide receiver 40 from where I'm looking.
35 looks like.
Is it 35? Really?
ADP 90, wide receiver 35.
Oh, then what am I looking at?
According to Fantasy Pros.
I'm not Fantasy Pros. I thought I said wide receiver 40.
PPR.
I could be wrong. Where's he at?
Fantasy Football Draft Rankings.
Dotson, 90th overall. Wide receiver 40. That's what it says.
Oh, well, that's weird.
Am I in standard? I could be in standard.
You might be standard.
I'm in full. I'm 100% standard. So I don't know what he is. Let me look.
I learned week 1, man. We don't talk about standard on here.
We don't, and I forgot to adjust that. My ranking.
What a loser. Do you
know?
No,
I think that's very fair, though. I mean, even at wide receiver 35, you're looking at what wide receiver 3
low end wide
team
receiver
at
3
that point. So
he was number 6 in fantasy points per target last year. So with 2.14. So he scored you 2.14 fantasy points per target last year. It's insane. And he didn't play.
He just looked like this. Like, listen, not everyone looks like a football player. He looks like a football player. He was making plays. He scored touchdowns, 7 in only 10, 11 games. That's a lot.
The thing I like about like Dotson and McLaurin this year specifically is because of Bieniemy being there in Washington. Hopefully, building that offense up a lot more than what it has been in recent years. Bieniemy is going to be looking to prove that he's a head coach candidate, not Andy Reid, making him look good. So I think that offense can move. I think this is the same reason why Josh did, I know that, been drafting Sam Howell late as well. So
Sam Howell's my dude this year. Hopefully, my ride or die. Okay. I got one. I got one of my fan favorites. One of my guys, Mike Gesicki. He's been my tight end one for a long, not one obviously, but I love this guy so much because when he played for Miami and he was effective, and when they used him, there was no one better besides Kelsey and Andrews and Pitts. No, Pitts wasn't there, but you get my point. He was very good as a fantasy tight end. I believe from 2019 to 2021, Gesicki averaged 449 routes ran per season. That's more than Jahan Dotson last year. That's more than a lot of that's more than almost every tight end actually. No tight end was running out of the slot more than Gesicki, rather other than Travis Kelsey. And the thing is, last year they didn't want him. He didn't want to be in Miami. Miami didn't want him there. I had no idea why they even made him play. He only ran 300 something routes, like 329, 328, I believe. Only 52 targets. He's in 2021 and 2020. He had more catches than he had targets in 2023. Ridiculous. They just never targeted him because he wouldn't block. He didn't want to play football. He just wanted to be a receiver, which is totally fine. But he goes to New England where they actually do like to target the tight end. I know that, hey, what's going on, Drew? I know that last year Hunter Henry was kind of disappointing. But can we all agree Gesicki's a better athlete than Hunter Henry, and he's probably going to demand more targets there. You look at the guys that the target leaders in New England last year. Jacoby Myers had 96. The target leader, 96. He's gone. So who's going to be the target leader? They bring in Juju. I know I always forget about him, but he's there. So you assume he's going to get that 96. He's going to take over Myers. Ramondre Stevenson, number 2, 88. Hunter Henry was the third most targeted pass catcher in that offense with 59. I assume that they didn't sign Gesicki just to give him 59 targets. I assume they're going to use him in the red zone. They're going to use him in the slot, and they're going to use him in that passing game effectively. Like, not like they use Gronk, because that's almost impossible. He's his own player. He's one of one, but they're going to use him more as a threat rather than a blocker. Gesicki is my guy, ADP 21. How the hell are people drafting Cole Kmet at ADP 12 when the dude's going to get 3.2 targets per game, when you have a fucking stud like Mike Gesicki over here?
Dude
I don't
signed a
understand
monster
it.
contract today.
I know he did. That's why I brought him up. Make it make sense, somebody. Gesicki.
You know that the whole spiel you just rattled off, exactly word for word. You could have said this last year about Jonnu Smith. That's my issue. Nobody's Gronk. Nobody's Aaron Hernandez. Nobody's going to replace these guys. Every time they come in, they're like, oh, this is going to be the next guy. And I do think Gesicki's a good player. I just, at this point, I don't trust that offense besides the running game. I don't trust Mac Jones. I don't trust the receivers. I really don't want anybody on that team besides Ramondre Stevenson, unless maybe Mac Jones is a super late QB3 and a super flex. That's about it. I just don't think anybody would be good enough. Even Hunter Henry, I mean, he was decent last year because I think he caught a decent amount of touchdowns, I want to say.
Mhm.
Maybe Gesicki replaces him and he does that. He could be. That's definitely possible. It just seems like you could have said this exact thing word for word with Jonnu Smith. Last year, everyone was like, oh my God, Jonnu Smith is the new guy, blah, blah, blah. Did he die? I don't even know what happened to him. Where is he at? I couldn't tell you. I think he got cut. I'm not sure. I don't know where he went if he did. So we'll see. We'll see.
So I have the same kind of worries that Dave's got, which is terrifying me. First, Jonnu Smith is a Falcon now. Hunter Henry, we all act like he sucked in LA, San Diego, whatever. I mean, he
was good in LA.
Yeah.
San Diego.
Tight end 13, tight end 9, 15, and 20. He was tight end 10 in New England his first year. And then he just lost his place in the offense. I don't know what happened last year with him, only getting 2 touchdowns after having 9 touchdowns the season before with 75 targets.
Hey Justin, I'm gonna real quick. Drew in the chat has a question. I know I'm right
Okay.
here, but hey Drew, I'm not ignoring you. Let me know when you're done putting your players out there.
Yeah.
Justin, continue.
Okay. So Hunter Henry was very solid. Like I said, he just lost his place in that offense. And is that Mac Jones? Is it just his inability to actually play? Is it Bailey Zappi? Is it the fact that Matt Patricia, a defensive coach, is coaching the offense? I don't know. I like Dave, the only player in New England that I'm trusting right now is Ramondre, and I don't even trust that.
I will put it to a bet right now. Drew, we're going to get to your question in a second. I bet you anything Mike Gesicki will outscore Daniel Bellinger in 2023.
Oh, I mean, that's fair. He's the starting tight end.
But
We don't
no,
know
he's
that.
not. Hunter
Hunt might
Henry
be
is.
starting tight end. But I would still take Gesicki over.
I mean, I would
Bellinger.
take.
I'm just
Gesicki,
saying we're
too.
putting our sleepers versus each other, man. I
fair.
didn't know we'd have
Okay.
2 tight ends on this show today. It was really weird.
Okay.
All right. Drew in the chat wants to know 12-team half PPR keeper league. Who should I keep? And I'm assuming he only can keep one. So Sun God in the 5th, Olave in the 7th, Garrett Wilson in the 8th, or George Pickens in the 11th.
Wilson.
This one is
Wilson.
easy. It's this one
Wilson.
right here. It's Garrett Wilson. You're not going to get. It's because of the return. It's
Garrett
because
should
he's
be
going.
easy.
like a
Even
second-round
Amon would
pick.
be close, but he's 3 rounds later for Wilson, who they're pretty close to the same.
Well, what I was going to
So
say
that-
is
that's to me,
I
it's
drafted
easy.
Garrett Wilson today in the 1st in a league in an
Where?
underdog.
What? First of all, what league are you in? Without
Underdog
me.
best.
That's
It's
what
an
I'm
underdog. It's a $3. It was a $3 underdog,
Yeah,
Dave.
I need to start doing some more of those. I haven't done.
Yeah,
it.
so I'm saying
Go
like
ahead.
I'm like, oh, I'm
Well, you don't
anyway,
invite me, so whatever.
I can't. They're public. You can just everyone's invited. Everyone's invited. But Garrett Wilson, I'm drafting in the 1st round, and I'm seeing Olave and Sun God. They're all going like the 4th, 5th. So that's just the value thing. 8th round's awesome. When you
I'm
keep
also looking at what quarterbacks are throwing to them.
you're well that too, but Garrett Wilson's a straight up stud, dude.
Yeah.
Like it's just he's just going to be the best receiver in football, close to Justin Jefferson and Chase after the season.
First
Dave,
of all, calm the fuck down when you say that shit, because that's how
It's
much
true,
I like him too. I know.
Dave,
I love him.
you know that song? I loved him first, Dave. Okay, so you can't come on my ship. What you're doing with your Devin Singletary's drafting now you're on Garrett Wilson's. You can't come on my ships, Dave.
Oh, here we go. I'm
No,
on
stay in
Devin
your own
Singletary
lane.
because I
Stay
got him
in your
super
own
late
lane.
in one draft. Now I'm
Stay
all
in your
over.
own lanes. Stop stealing my sleepers, man.
Whatever. All I know is I get to keep Garrett Wilson for the 9th round in my draft. So I'm hyped
Yeah,
for that.
you do. Lucky you, dude. Lucky you. Gosh.
So I'm hyped.
Anyway, is there any more sleepers? Do we have any more time to sleep? Are we all done?
Justin Jefferson.
Justin Jefferson's a sleeper. Josh, Allen, and Garrett love them. Yes. Dude, Garrett Wilson, I'm telling y'all right now. You know how we said this, Dave? You know how you said this about Justin Jefferson? He will be, or no, you said this about Diggs. You said Diggs will be a top 5 pick when he leaves or whenever, like whatever in Buffalo. You said that. I didn't believe you.
He's a
Garrett
superstar.
Garrett Wilson will be a top 3 receiver in Dynasty
I think
or in redraft next year. He'll be in the 1st round.
I think he's the top. Oh, 100%. I think he's the top. I mean, you got some young studs: Jefferson, Chase, CeeDee Lamb, AJ Brown, and I think
Yeah.
he's right there with all those guys. I think he's
All
a
of
top
them.
5 guy. Like in Dynasty, if I have him, he's the top 5 receiver to me. Maybe top 3. He's
Yes.
that. I do think he's that good, and I think with Rodgers, I think he's gonna put up huge numbers, man. God
And-
damn it!
and
Why does
Dave,
everybody
it's-
like the same guys I like?
It's not me hyping him up like crazy. It's just watch. Like I work from home. I watch the NFL Network all day. It's Aaron Rodgers to Garrett Wilson every 30 seconds in a loop. That's all they play. They're just hyping up because of Hard Knocks. Like it's going to be out of control. The value is going to go through the roof.
Yep, he'll be a first round pick probably soon
Yeah,
if
unfortunately.
he isn't already.
All right, but we're gonna get on out of here. Make sure if you're here still, please give the show a like. It really helps out our show. If you are on the podcast side, the audio listeners, make sure you head over to our YouTube, Finstock Sports Network. We're live every single Wednesday night, 8 o'clock. Next week, though, we will not be live at 8 o'clock. I will not be here. I will be at AEW Dynamite watching wrestling.
Why
So
weren't
we're
you
going.
at Raw last night? Was it last night?
I had no idea Raw. Later, Drew. I had no idea Raw was even in town.
I saw some people posting pictures. I was like, wait, Josh wasn't there? What happened?
No, I would. So I'm going to AEW next week on Wednesday night, and then so we'll be doing a midday show. We will be doing it at noon Eastern. Dave, you're
You
welcome
know what?
to join.
Fuck you guys. Seriously, fuck off with your little office jobs and AC. Seriously. Eat shit.
Justin, what's
assholes.
our topic for next week?
Ah, shit. I need. We have to be determined.
To be determined. It's gonna be a great show.
Yep.
So make sure you turn on those alerts for noon next Wednesday.
Turn off your
Um,
alerts for next week because I won't be here, and then turn it back on after that.
Make sure you follow us on Twitter at Josh Kimball OUS, at Viking David 18, and at Justin Bowerly.
And
Um,
at Fantasy OUS.
And at Fantasy OUS. Please, we're rebranding that one as well. Guys, I'm gonna try to get us out of here. I'm usually not the producer, but let's see if I can do it. Peace
Let's
out.
go.